All right, I'm gonna record us for right now, just so I don't forget.
We don't forget about this dog attack.
Well, Ty's good at splicing things out, so.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I bet that was scary, Daryl. It's even scary when they just kind of get heated and there aren't even teeth out. It just seems, you know, just hearing the growling and aggression. Oh, is your dog small one?
Oh, he's about 50 pounds, but you know,
Oh,
he's a lot smaller than a German Shepherd. Yeah.
yeah, but that's weird.
Yeah, I can't imagine somebody owning that many of that kind of dog.
That act like that.
Yeah.
Ugh. Where did that happen?
Oh, we were just out walking in the woods near our house, and you know, a place I would normally not see anybody, but she was walking her dogs too, I guess.
I think just looking over the minutes, I think we spelled Jody Bear's last name wrong. in
Oh.
the Minutes last month. Oh. I'll have to double check her application. She's in the CAF.
Okay,
But I think she spells her last name Behr.
okay.
Hi there.
But you'll have to double check.
Hey,
I
how
didn't
are ya?
find it. Hi, Teresa.
Hot water spigot dead.
It is dead.
Hearing anybody? Are you guys talking?
Yes.
You can use the microwave.
You can't hear me
uh,
though. I mean, I can't hear you.
You have to find a.
Let me try
mug
something.
to
I'm
use the
sorry.
Microwave.
Okay.
Hold on.
I'll be right back.
We hear you.
I'm going around the other way, less like do something terrible and take out all of my equipment. You might just check and make sure if anybody joins. at minimum.
Is it warm in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
That was just.
I didn't know I have my internal thermostat kind of fluctuates as well, but it does seem warm. So this should be a pretty quick meeting today. We don't have any action items.
Yeah, it should be fairly quick. I think it's making up for next month. Sounds like next month will be pretty busy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just finalizing all the renovation stuff. Um, The kitchen is we had to rip out most everything. And then there was a slight stuff in here in this area. The carpet was all wet, but they managed to
So
dry
did
that.
we, have we taken any,
Oh, no, I was there anyway.
I'm sorry?
I was just like, I hope I said she had it clean.
I'm sorry, Daryl.
have we taken any measures to prevent that from happening again?
Well, so it's very odd because we had a plumber come in and fix that part of that very piece. And when assumed that had he looked at the canister, he would have realized it was old and needed replacement. But for whatever reason, he didn't replace it, didn't tell us that it was, that needed replacing. And so, yeah, so now it is now on our
Maintenance list?
yearly maintenance list, yes, of things to worry about. So thank you, yes. We have been able to get that done.
We can't sue the plumber for malpractice or something?
No, unfortunately, it seems like there's very few people we can sue these days for malpractice.
All right, hi, Megan.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, the other director, after all that, I mean, not that we wanted to, but you felt like we had to, couldn't do anything.
Albert, stop. Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and
It's
call
nice
us
to
to
have-
order. We have a quorum here, so
right.
we meet today on the settled indigenous land, which is the traditional territory of the Chinookan peoples of the Wasco, Richland, Warm Springs, and Grand Ronde tribes. Let us honor this land and its traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive to embody a commitment to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. In this spirit, I call this meeting to order at 4:01 PM. And Tia just slipped out, but
Here,
there she is. Tia, I'll just have you tape roll call
All right. So we have Laura Dunn, Chair,
present.
Letty Moretti, Vice Chair.
oh, she's just joining now. There we go.
Letty, are you there?
Hi,
Hey, Letty, are you there?
Hello, buenas tardes.
All right,
Good.
Hi,
you're
Letty.
just acknowledging that, you're here, so.
I
We have
am.
Daryl Roberts, Secretary Treasurer,
Here,
Dr. Megan Larrabee,
Here,
Greg Pack,
He's absent.
Jeff Helfrich,
He also said he would be absent, though he may join by computer.
okay, and Megan Rainey.
present.
all right, so the first order of business is the minutes from the January 19th regular meeting. They're in the packet. I asked Tia to check the spelling on Jody Bear's name and the CAC. Were there any other corrections or changes? that the
I
board
think-
members would like?
yeah, I think, wasn't Jeff was in attendance at the last meeting, I believe, and he's not listed here under the board members.
Yeah, he did come in a little bit late. Good catch.
I feel like he was online initially and then he.
That's right. He was online and then he came in, so.
So.
It does say that he's present on
It
the,
says only Letty was absent last month.
No, because you have Letty there and Daryl there, but,
Well, yeah,
Roll
under,
call.
roll, you say
Internet.
Jeff,
oh, under the roll call, but he should be under,
Oh.
board minutes and
Oh,
members.
Oh,
Yeah,
good catch.
yeah. Thank you.
So roll call just means she said their name.
That they're actually present. And the board members attendees, that actually should also reflect who actually was there in attendance.
Okay.
I don't think we need them both, so that's a good point. I think if we just have them at the roll call, we don't need them both. I didn't catch that. That's good. Yeah.
okay, any other changes that need to be made? Okay, could I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make that motion to accept the minutes.
Do I need,
Second.
thank you, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain since I wasn't there. Thank you.
Okay, and chair votes aye. Now's the opportunity for public comment regarding a discussion item not on the agenda. Is there anyone here to make a public comment?
Valerie is on, but I don't know if she wants to make a comment. Valerie, you want to make a comment?
I'm here, but I don't have any comments.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for joining us. So we'll go ahead to Teresa from our team accounting to present the financial overview.
Okay. First, I believe a packet may have recently been sent out to you with a correction. It was caught that this is just a technical question, a technical issue. I copied the notes twice into the minutes and didn't give you a balance sheet. So a second packet was given to Tia just this afternoon. That balance sheet notes that there's about 1.3 million in cash available. That's roughly 91,000 less than last month, but 134,000 more than this time last year. Since the packet was put together, we received a notice from the county that there's an additional 7,000 just deposited into the CIT account for the tax distribution. That information came too late to be included, but we'll catch up next month. The grant receivables were at 313,000. There were 2 or 3 grants not yet requested for the quarterly draw at the time these were prepared. So those will also get included next month when those requests have been put together. Revenue for the year is about half what was budgeted. That's partly because of the capital purchases that have been delayed for the buses. And once those are backed out, it's much closer, but not yet close, right on budget. Patty, did you want to talk about that portion at all?
No,
Okay.
we were talking, I'm sorry, you were talking
I
about
didn't
the
mean to
grant.
put you on the spot. You had mentioned you might
I
have
was
something to
trying to
say.
organize my packet and I missed it. So you were talking about the grants and
The revenue.
the revenue. Yeah. So we, as you all know, we collect money on a quarterly basis. We just finished filing for this quarter, so we have money that is yet to come in. And yeah, we're pretty much on target of where we expect to be. So I expect to be able to catch up.
Well, yeah,
Except for the capital ones where we don't anticipate spending on those.
I looked over that and it's only the federal grants that we're behind on. And
Yeah. Yeah. And we just received a large shipment, which is exciting. It took a long time, but for the real-time information panels that will go on the, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be putting those up this spring. And hopefully working with the city also to get more bus stops put in so we can put them up as well. But we're just unpacking those. That was probably another $60,000 worth of capital expense. So we're slowly drawing down what we can and and we'll keep moving on that one. So
Okay. Cost of goods, we're at 297,000. That's about 3,000 higher than budget. The savings in fuel expense not costing as much as budgeted is 67,000. So that's an offset to the other things that are a little bit over budget. Admin expense still remains at 2,000 less than budget. And personnel expenses are 56,000 less than budget. So net income is 78,000. That's again 197 less than last year at this time, but that's based on the capital purchases not going through. Of course, we just talked about. Does anybody have any questions?
well, I don't have a question, but I'd just like to point out that at where we're at the end of January at 78,000 in net revenue, that's probably going to disappear because of the wage increases we have passed. So we're probably, in my guess, operating at just about, net zero at this point. So we should keep that in mind when we're talking about the supplemental budget. And I mean, I don't see that as a big problem because we have such a big cash surplus and we're really not supposed to be making a profit on this business anyway. But I just want to point out that to me, it looks like we're spending what we're taking in at this point.
Teresa, do you think that's a fair summary?
I have not been given the information on the wage increases. I know they did happen. I know that it was working through the union, and it will come through on the payroll when it starts posting next month. And for me, next month is February. So I will watch this really closely. I knew it was coming, but I don't know what the amounts are.
We'll be able to talk a little bit more about that on the supplemental budget. You'll see that, and you'll also see that we are looking to have some additional revenues coming in that we hadn't anticipated this year, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But Daryl is correct. Long term, this will impact some of our. We'll probably have to dip into some of the reserves moving forward. I don't think this year that we'll get to the point where we have to dip in, but subsequently we may, particularly if we don't get some of the grant funds that we expect to get. Yeah, go ahead.
Any other questions for Teresa? Okay, I
Thank you.
think we're finished with that part, so we'll move on to the operations manager, and Ty's on vacation, so Patty's gonna take that this time.
Yeah, so not a huge amount of change over January. I don't remember. Oh, we did have a small fender bender in January due to the snow.
Is that the harsh event, the one?
No, it's a
the
crash.
okay.
What was nothing to report on. I think it barely, I think maybe we even did talk about it last month, where the bus ran into the the ski lot. Drive time is a little bit higher than it has been. Percentage over the speed limit is pretty consistent, and the miles driven is also consistent with what we've been doing. Our on-time performance is slightly down. That may have been because of the snow. So I'm not too worried about that. I think even then we did pretty well. Gas and diesel, I don't know why we had, I guess because we had more holidays in December. That would be it. And why we had more fuel use, but that's something to ask Ty about. It does seem like it's more consistent with what we were doing in November, but even slightly higher than that. So we probably were using more. Oh, I'm sorry. It's because of the Gorge to Mountain, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's just what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was having a really hard time. Sorry. Gorge to Mountain. That's because we implemented the Gorge to Mountain in January, not in December this year. So, yeah. And our fuel costs also went up. We're still largely under budget. I want to keep the fuel budget high because we don't know what prices are going to go, particularly with the whole stuff in Ukraine, but we'll see. Our rides, we don't have January ridership on here. Do you not have January ridership on here? Is that this January?
No, that has to be last January.
Yeah.
Oh.
Looks
I
like
don't
that's
think-
last January.
So I apologize. I did not, I will apologize for staff. The last couple of weeks we've been really focused on getting the transit master plan out and then dealing with the internal flooding in the office and some other things. So it's been really, really crazy around here. So I apologize. I will get you the updated ridership.
Do you know generally about Gorge Mountain and how many rides we've had on that?
I don't know. I can look real quickly, or have Tia look real quickly, but but I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't been looking at it. We've done pretty well on the weekends. Not as quite as strong on the weekdays, but
Well, the skiing has been terrible, so
and-
I'm
Yeah.
guessing the
Yeah.
ridership is probably down because of that.
yeah, yeah. Though on the sunny days, people still seem to come out, so we're happy with that. So that's kind of where we are with operations. I don't feel like there's a whole lot. Like I said, I'll get you the ridership and we'll have that updated and presented, and I apologize for that. But other than that, I think things have been going pretty well. We are starting to be able to hire drivers again.
Good.
We've hired 2 new ones. We've got a couple in training. Most people, we're now addressing the state. Well, I guess it was the federal motor carrier made some changes. And so we are battling right now to try and figure out the changes into the training and how, what is required to get a CDL. They've increased the requirements, which we are trying to wrap our heads around, where there's a nationwide shortage of CDL, class CDL, and now they've decided to put in these new federal regulations, which really are confusing.
When did they
Um,
come?
They come in February,
It was February
Second.
2nd. It took effect.
yeah,
Is that just for new licenses?
new
or every-
licenses,
or
new
is that- okay.
licenses, yeah.
I wonder if it's in response to the safety campaign,
It probably is,
Yes.
yeah, but
Vision Zero.
It-
Yeah.
yeah, but it just is a really, really bad time right now.
Mhm.
I mean, so there are some issues
Curious
which
now.
we're still trying to figure out, like you have to be a certified agency to be able to train folks. And it's unclear to us as of today whether we are part of that certified agency. What we've heard is that if we are not, they are not accepting new applications.
Oh,
So what it would mean for us is that we would have to basically find someone who can train our drivers, because we can no longer train them. And then they have to also be tested by someone who's certified as a tester, which has been the case in the past, but is just more complicated.
are there any
because-
certified trainers and testers in the board?
Well, Tia's
My
husband is,
husband is, when he learned that this was coming into play, he went and applied and was accepted. Now we're just waiting for the formal paperwork to come. He received the email saying, hey, you're good to go. Now he's just waiting for the certification, which they said could take up to 90 days, but it might not. So anywhere between, so,
Yeah. he can do the testing, not the
Yes.
training.
yeah.
So we're still trying to figure that out. ODOT has been quite helpful to try and help us along in those things. And kudos to Valerie and the rest of their staff. We're just trying to figure out where we stand.
So
So-
typically, when our drivers apply, they don't already have a commercial license.
So
They get
um,
training on the job.
in the past, pre-COVID, a lot of them did have CDLs. Now there's sort of a nationwide shortage on CDL drivers for a variety of reasons.
There's a shortage of everything.
Yes. And so almost, I would say 85% of the people that are applying for us don't have a CDL. So we don't have any problem training them. We've trained them in the past and had good record training folks. It's just that we're not being allowed to do them now. So do that now. So we're just trying to figure out, maybe we can be a certified agency or are already a certified agency. It's just very unclear what that means. So,
Yeah, just reading about it.
yeah.
And previous to this law, you didn't have to be a certified agency, you could just train people if you.
Well, you had to train them to a specific standard, and then they had to be tested on what they'd learned, but you didn't, yeah, now you have to be a certified trainer of some, and certified, and our operations staff that is not certified, or that we know of. So, so anyway, it's just very complex, and yes, but,
And this is national law. This isn't just Oregon.
well, yes, it's my
Yeah,
understanding it's a
federal.
federal motor carrier change that was made at the federal level and is being carried out at the state level. I think I may be wrong, but I think it's the state that is holding up the certification of folks. So that's why we've been working with ODOT to kind of get some clarity on that.
I have one question about operations.
Uh-huh.
When I'm riding the Portland bus,
Uh-huh.
it now, instead of going directly west on the interstate, it goes east to the port first.
Mhm.
So I can get on in the port now?
You've always been able to get on the port.
Okay.
It's just that,
Sometimes it takes a right and sometimes it takes a left. You know what I mean?
sometimes it takes a right.
Sometimes the bus goes directly from here to Portland and
Uh-huh.
sometimes it stops at the port first.
So yes, we had an issue where what was happening is what we were trying to communicate to folks is they needed to take the city route
Mhm.
and come here and then catch the bus from here. What we were finding is that there were some buses and are some buses in the morning and the evening because of the commuter service that were stopping at the port first and then going via downtown to the CAT station. What we were finding is that there were a lot that was confusing a lot of people. So now we always stop at the port stop.
Okay.
You
That
always
was like-
stop there after.
No,
It may be before or
It might be
after, but we
before,
always stop
Okay. got it.
because that way we don't miss people.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just, it happened a couple of times. I'm like, where are we going? We're not going to the Dells, are we?
Yeah, I would panic for a second too.
That was
Wait a
the
minute,
one day we were
we're
going to the
on time.
airport. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, we can't miss our flight. Like, I thought I made a terrible error.
If you ask the driver, he should know where he's
Oh,
going.
yeah,
so-
no,
No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
I almost did. I was just waiting to see what happened.
We did not actually. Got off before I started.
Is that it for operations?
I think that's it for
Okay.
operation. Did we have an operation person of the month? I think it was Michael
Oh, yeah.
Kirby.
Michael.
And I didn't mention that,
Thank
Michael
you.
Kirby, really nice young man. We just hired him. He tried really hard to pass his test, and got a really cantankerous old
Oh,
tester and
yes.
was probably had more energy than the guy could handle. So he's gonna retest, but he's been just an enormous amount of help and we have really appreciated him in the office. He fits in really well with the team, so.
Is he the one that came from SDF?
Yes.
Okay, I met him at the kickstand event.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. Really sweet young
Really
man.
sweet, yeah.
All right. I say young, but he's probably not that young.
Yeah.
He's young compared to me, I guess I should say. All right. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, then we can move along to transit master plan and that's Patty too.
Okay, so I am gonna share my screen. If I can figure out how to do this, hold on here. Yes. Share screen. And. All right. Okay, are you able to see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is our transit master plan. You all got a copy. You should have been able to see it based on input from you all and other reviewers. There are a couple things that you will notice that are different. I'm just going to move this this goes up here. Let me get up there. Oh, it knows. Anyway, I was concerned that somebody who was coming to our site who didn't know English, particularly Spanish speaker, might not know or understand that they could actually get to translate the site in Spanish. So we now went up here and you can translate it, translates it for you. It also says right here, if you want a translation, go up here and do it. So hoping that I wanted to make sure, Letty, that you feel like that's good enough. We can also create a totally separate Spanish website. We just thought it would be easier all the way around just to do it this way.
Yeah, this looks good.
And then if you do take it in the Spanish, it will come up. Come up in the Spanish. There it is.
Right
So,
before your eyes.
thank you to all of you who did take the survey. We did take most of your suggestions. There are a few of them that we opted not to use, including yours.
Mine, oh.
Just mainly because, because when you're taking it on the phone, it adds about 20 questions, doing it the way that you recommended doing it. And we just felt like a lot of people would just be, no. So we thought this will get us the information we want. We do have, we are going to keep our eye on how much information we get and how people are answering things. And our hope is that if the way we've done it right now is not getting the responses we need or want, that we can make changes down the road. Let's see what else. Chris left me a bunch of lists. We have completed the public outreach. Hold on here. The press release is going out next week. The translated version to Spanish speaking outlets is also going out. I'm supposed to ask Letty if you can do a radio interview on Radio Tierra to let folks know that the survey is out and on the streets. We have regular and bilingual bookmarks in all the libraries starting on Friday or early Monday with project and display boards. We will also have all the CAT buses will have rack cards, and each of the display items, you will have a QRL code, which you can take a photo of and get to the website there. We're also, the website that will take you to this is engagecatbus.org. We had wanted to tie it to our website, but didn't have, there was a glitch in doing that. So we just did it this way, just to get it out. Bilingual survey, promotional posters are going out throughout the county. Hard copy bilingual surveys will be available later next week, but online versions can be translated now. Survey outreach coordination meetings are planned with the school district and the chamber. We actually had a very, very good coordination meeting with the school district. We've set up another one to speak about actually coordinating transit service. They're very excited, as are we, in a variety of the coordination ways. There's some things we cannot do, but a lot of things we can do. So we're looking forward to having more discussions about that. In addition, we have offered the foundation, if they push this out to parents to take the survey through the parent newsletter, that we will provide $1 for every parent that takes the survey to the foundation. So any school, Hood River County, Valley County District school parent that takes the survey, we will provide $1 to the foundation. So we're hopeful that.
Is that just incentive to get more?
It is.
surveys?
It's incentive to get as many surveys as we possibly can. We figure that if every parent in the Hood River School District took the survey one way or another, we would have a pretty full representation of the county and the views. So that's sort of why we felt that way. Our typical sense with working with Chris, who's done this kind of thing before, is probably maybe 500 people will take it. So we don't expect all 4,000.
Yeah.
But I mean, would be happy with if that were the case, because we would cut down on other types of outreach that we would need to do. So, sorry. And we will be doing a presentation to the Columbia Gorge Health Council on the 28th. We have the Technical Advisory Committee, which is our first meeting with a key government and other stakeholders on the 24th. And then the CAC meeting is March 10th. So we are in full kickoff mode. The transit plan, the existing conditions report was finalized today. And will be in your inboxes for you all to read or to click online tomorrow. So, and all the technical advisor committee members will also get a copy. So we feel we're pretty excited with where we are. And I am very happy that the existing conditions report is done. We are gonna probably end up having to hire a professional map maker, because that took a lot of energy and time that we didn't anticipate. So we'll be excited for that.
I'd love to talk about that.
That you do map making. Okay.
Yeah. Does the existing conditions report include, is it just the cat route and the bus stops? What is it?
It's a full assessment, both, and I can actually print you out a copy, but it goes over all of the existing conditions in this county right now. So it talks about demographics. It talks about our routes and riderships and where we go, and talks about our efficiency as an agency. It talks about area development and where that's going to be occurring. It talks about the factors that are likely to influence transit and the way we look at transit. So that includes development, it includes tourism and visitors, it includes other, well, I don't have that in there, but that could easily be parking and parking management. It talks about, so it's intended to be sort of a quick snapshot of the county, and looking at both where transit service is now, where it isn't, and some of the factors that are going to influence where we put new routes.
Does it include crash data around bus stops?
It does
safety?
not. It does
Okay.
not. But it is something that we.
That's something I would love. to-
Okay.
No, I mean, that sort of information would be so useful for so many things.
Yeah.
But beyond transit, but it's like that, I always say it's the last first mile connection.
Yeah.
Transit. Cool.
Yeah, so we're it was all done in-house. So if there's something that we missed and you feel really important, like needs to be added, we're happy to add it in. It'll probably take a little while for us to get the full picture, but the existing conditions report will be the first part of the actual transit master plan. So it will set the stage and provide some of the issues and conditions upon which we should be looking at as we move forward. So we're pretty excited about it. And yeah, and
Looking forward to seeing that.
I
yeah,
can send you the Safe Routes to School crash map.
okay,
Because you can probably just look at that. It's a lot of, I mean, it's pretty much downtown Hood River in the Heights. That's all it includes, but you get to see the hot spots. I mean, it's the obvious Cascade, 12th, 13th, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'd be interesting if I can get the data for the rest of the county, that would certainly.
Yeah,
be-
well, it's a GIS website that I think ODOT produces. And
Okay.
I have it in my email somewhere. I got that. Because you can just literally put in an address, zoom in, and it'll show like red dots as in fatality. And then there's different colors for like, and it's all based on the police report. It's not emergency data or emergency EMS data, but it's still a great indication of where there needs to be more love given to that street. So.
All right.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to?
Unless anybody has any questions about the transit master plan. So our next step was to have these meetings, talk about any data that needs to yet be input into the existing conditions report or considered, both from our partners and whatnot. We're going out with an RFP for land use consultant that will review all of the development areas that are cited in the existing conditions report and say which ones are the most likely to be developed and the time frame under which their development might occur, because that will influence how we're designing routes in those areas. And they will also highlight how to make, for developers and the city, they will also be providing some information on how to get your development more transit oriented, so that it works well with transit. So those will be some things that we're pretty excited about doing as well.
How long will the survey be?
The
open?
survey should be up until Amy returns, but it will be up until, I think, April 24th is the next CAC meeting, is that
Yes.
correct? So it'll be up until that meeting, and you all, the board will also hear before that meeting how many surveys we've received and what percentages of the target areas that we've received them in. So if there is, for instance, if we've received, only 2% of the Hispanic community has returned surveys, but we've received a whole bunch of surveys in the white community, we'll focus on those areas where we can do specific outreach to the Hispanic folks to be actually able to fill out the survey. Same with elderly or youth or the other.
And the
target
survey
areas.
is live now.
It is, I believe, live now, yes.
Okay.
Either that or tonight,
Okay.
but.
I just looked it up. I didn't see it.
Okay. Engage
Oh, I
cat
looked at
bus.
the cat
Yeah, you have to
website.
go, sorry.
Will there be
There
a?
will be a link from our site.
Okay.
We're wanting to get past President's Day, so we can put it as the very first thing on the top bar, the alert bar.
Okay.
So it probably won't be up until then.
Okay.
I would really recommend that if you want to send it out, that you start sending it out on Tuesday. And you can either send it as a link from our website or directly to that, but we will send you the link when it's live and ask you to go ahead and email all your friends or post it on Facebook or whatever social media that you have and want. That was the other thing that Chris wanted to talk to me about, is if you have groups or other types of organizations that you're part of and want to do a small presentation on the transit master plan or how to promote the survey. We're all about that. You just need to let us know and we'll give you the tools that you need to go out and do that for us. We're on full court press until April 24th to get this out to as many people as we can. And so we strongly encourage, we'd like to hear from the broadest spectrum of people that we can do. We're going into the high schools to get high school students and middle school students. The high school students themselves are going to actually promote it among their peers. And at the middle school level to have the kids take it. We're also going into the retirement communities to have set up booths so folks can take it there. So we're trying to be have as much opportunity to get as many people to take the survey as we can. And we do have a question, if you took it, you will know that we had a question that allowed for folks to for outside of the Hood River community. So if you live in the Dalles or White Salmon, you can also take it. And what we'll be able to do is take that information that community oriented information and send it back to the Dalles, to the link, or to Klickitat County so that we have sort of a broader picture of what transit service needs are.
What about Portland?
We will be doing outreach to Portland. We want to do it first here so that we have that information. I think we do have a focus area on the I-84 corridor, so there will be some touch points along the way. What we envision is ultimately, and this is part of the reason that we have the website that we do, because there's an opportunity for us to have an interactive map, and on each of the corridors, we'll have the opportunity for people to place bus stops where they'd like to see a bus stop,
Ooh,
where
nice.
they want the bus to stop. So along the I-84 corridor, that will be a key piece, but also in, where you live in Hood River or Odell or wherever, people will be able to say, this is where we'd like to see stops. Doesn't mean we'll be able to do them all, but at least we'll have an idea about where people would like to see the bus stop.
Yeah, I have a lot of Twitter peeps that have a lot of feelings about where the bus should stop. Specifically when they get into town, they're like, why isn't there like a really nice stop downtown? I'm like, I mentioned.
Yeah, and that, is exactly the type of information we hope to be able to roll out in a city council format and say, this is what we heard,
Yeah.
and, you need
From this
to
many
help us,
people,
yeah.
right.
Get us there. So that's the thing. On the note of the nice stop downtown, we are still working on the transit center at the port. It isn't quite downtown, but and that grant application will be done February 28th. We've been told by ODOT, because of our partnership with the port, it's likely to be a pretty strong application. There's somewhere about $2 million statewide, so we're pretty excited about the opportunity to have get that funding done. That would allow us to have a full and permanent stop in on Anchor Way with shelter and the whole 9 planters and sidewalks and the whole 9 yards. Long term, we'd love to see a waiting area there once the buildings are constructed, so that people would have a place to wait inside, and we could provide information for folks coming from out of town. So those are our long-term plans.
If awarded, how soon would we find out?
Valerie, do you know the answer to that question? It probably.
Awards will be announced in May.
Okay.
But there will be some back and forth, I think, between ODOT and some of the applicants prior to then. So you may have a better idea before May, but nothing's official till then.
And we're particularly excited because we've really strengthened our relationship with the port. And I think the port has been really excited about including transit in their plans. So I think that's another really big advantage to us. So.
Yeah, you're working on the port to try and get a cyclocross race in Hood River down there at the port, and transit for me is the key. I mean, besides it being next to 2 nationally recognized breweries, like that people can literally just walk to them from the course, like versus having all these tents and stuff set up. Yeah, but transit, it would be like my dream to get people riding the cat bus here, not having to bring their cars.
Yeah.
For the race. But, yeah.
So shall we move on? to
Yeah,
this?
sorry. I overtalked.
No, it was good information. we don't have too much to get through tonight.
Yeah.
So we're holding the supplemental budget hearing in March, but I understand you have a brief overview of what we'll be reviewing at that
Yes.
meeting.
So we wanted to give you a quick overview. So one of the things that came out of our audit is that we actually closed the year with more money, which is kind of exciting. Fair revenues, we expect to remain the same. Contract revenues will probably be a little less than we anticipated because we haven't seen, because of COVID, we haven't seen the contracts with some of the social service providers, particularly like the Center for Living and some of the other larger contracts that we had. They haven't yet come back. Federal assistance will go down because we won't receive the vehicles this year. That's the second year that we'd had to do that, but that will go down probably as much as $800,000. State assistance, we had said that we would do the supplemental for the Gorge to Mountain. We expect to receive around $70,000 for that. Part of the reason that we delayed the supplemental budget at this point is because we are now in negotiations with ODOT about the potential to enhance our services or take on the shuttle services between Gateway and Multnomah Falls for this year. They have a budget to be able to do that. They were gonna do their contractors for what unable to rehire Valerie's old position, which is the Columbia Gorge Express project manager. So they are looking for somebody to take that on. And if it could be as much as an additional $100,000 this year, and probably another 400, as much as another 400,000 next year. So it really depends on what we come to an agreement. It could be significantly less than that. It just depends on, and that we will, before we go to the board, we will let you know what we're planning on doing. We're proposing to go from Gateway to Cascade Locks because it does touch our border then, and it keeps us the state knows that it takes a little more money and would prefer just to go to Multnomah Falls with the turnaround there. So that's part of the conversation that we're having, is like how much and where and what it would look like and whatnot. So we probably will have that discussion next week, and I'll be able to keep you updated on where we are. And you guys can put your voice in terms of what you think. Local assistance is expected to come in just around 200,000. Other revenues likely to be around 45,000. Probably sell a couple of buses that we have on site. The Federal CARES Act, we expect we'll have another opportunity to put forward a grant. We would need to put in a dollar amount, and I would say 150 this year, maybe 150 next year, that we'd apply for about $300,000 in additional Federal CARES Act funds. That would incorporate some administrative issues as well as some potentially capital for like new fare boxes or things like that. So fuel, we over budgeted it. We are currently at about I think $80,000 on the current, somewhere around there. So we should have more than enough fuel, but as prices continue to rise, I want to keep it at that amount because I'm concerned about that. Preventative maintenance, because we haven't been able to replace buses, we have had to make some large repairs. We expect that to continue. We've spent about all of our budget as of now, sorry. And we expect another 80,000 to be needed. That would include putting some air conditioning in the some of the buses that we have that don't currently have that, so that we get it prepared for the summer. That was a big issue for our drivers this last year. Buying some tires for the larger buses. They always are pretty close to about $1,000 a tire. So so they can be a little bit spendy. We expect the vehicle insurance, we know already, is about $10,000 more. That's because we have had more vehicles on the lot. We're hoping to get rid of some of those, but we expect, but we're also hoping to get a few more vehicles. So we think that that's probably about a good amount. Driver expenses, we don't need to. The other big issue, and this isn't the updated sheet, but I'm sorry, we're over on advertising and marketing now. We're about 59,000. In part, that was my bad because I probably underestimated how much we would need. We had thrown a lot of money into, we had gotten some grant funds. We personally hadn't thrown money into it, but we had gotten a large allocation through the Gorge Pass program, which is being run by MCED, and had hoped that a lot of the marketing would be done through that grant. That has not turned out to be the case. In addition, because of the staffing issues that we had last summer, and associated with that, we had some overages in the marketing program that we had to shift into this year. And then more recently, we've had some advertising expenses related to Amy going on maternity leave. So we just haven't had the staff to do it all. We're going to ask for another $50,000 in marketing. Advertising and marketing, we think we'll be able to keep within that. So it would go, this should have had $90,000, so to go from $40,000 to $90,000.
Real quick, Patty, sorry, is there another tab on the top that's the one that came through? There we go.
Oh, there it
Sorry.
is. Okay, no, still not. I don't know. Anyway, it's all right. Grant and contract match funds. We hadn't anticipated having a contract with MCED to provide the Hood River to the Dalles link in the budget, but we did come to an agreement. It actually saves us money in the long run to do it that way. So even though it does seem like an expense, it is an additional $30,000 in that line item. Building expenses, despite the fact that we did have the flood, we don't anticipate any building because you'd already given us $20,000 for the heating and we decided to repair it rather than replace it. So what we've done instead is use that to address the issues related to the flood. Sorry, let me just go down here a little bit. We expect our professional fees to be reduced because we've got T on board now. I'm probably just going to leave the budget as it is because it's a little bit hard to estimate exactly the impact, but we think it could be as much as $20,000 that we will be able to save through doing that. Legal fees were also less. I think we had budgeted something like 15,000 and we ended up spending just over 3,000. So that was pretty exciting. Other administrative, we aren't going to expect to do. The administrative wages, surprisingly enough, we are just about 140. And so we think we're even with the some of the Tia got a raise. Even with Tia's increase, we expect to be still within budget for that. That of course was increased a little bit because John came on and then he left, and then and despite the fact that both Amy and Tia got raises, we're expecting that to remain about where it should be. And then the direct wages, personnel, again, we expect that to increase. It will depend upon whether we're doing Multnomah Falls and some of the other services that were planned. And that was the other thing. We are doing Dog Mountain this year. We originally weren't sure that we were going to get funding to do it. And we're trying to decide whether we're going to do it. Forest Service has now come up with the, so the Skamania County Chamber of Commerce or hotel tax is going to pay for 10,000, and the Forest Service is going to come up with 15,000. So we are going to provide it. That will be an increase in and reflected in the direct service wages as the Gorge to Mountain, which wasn't included in there. And then any also reflected in that would be any contracted service for Multnomah Falls. So I didn't want to put a number in there. We're thinking somewhere like 200,000 more, which would include the increased wages. But I don't know for sure. And then capital expenses, we expect to go down way low. Probably, like I said, probably about 100,000. Because we won't be purchasing buses. So I will have more information. I just wanted to provide this to you. We will have a formal public hearing at the next meeting. You'll be able to approve or not, but I wanted to give you a sort of a sneak peek. Daryl, you look troubled.
Well, I'm hearing about a lot of expenses going up. I just hope there'll be the revenues to cover it. But I wanted to ask you, what are we going to do about these buses that we're not getting? Are we just going to keep waiting forever, or are we going to try to find somebody else to supply them?
We're pretty limited on who we can actually ask for. Because they are state or federal fund. I mean, yeah, state or federal funds. So there's only sort of without going out for an extensive RFP process, we need to buy off the state list. I think everybody else is in the same boat. So we expect something to break pretty soon. And I don't know what that will be. But yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I don't know the answer to it, Daryl.
Well, I guess my concern is that our, repair expenses are rapidly increasing, and we don't have any sign on the horizon that we're going to be able to do anything about that.
Valerie, do you have any words of wisdom?
Not really from the ODOT side. I mean, right now what we can do is extend any grants or agreements for vehicles just to align with the delayed delivery. But what we're hearing kind of statewide and nationwide is that this is an issue across the board. So, I mean, you're like, in cases of desperation though, we can reach out kind of to all the state other providers to see if they have vehicles available. I know some have been kind of swapping or selling off ones they're not using. But that's kind of on like an ad hoc basis.
And we have gotten 3 vehicles from Watcom just recently from Watcom Transit. So that's why we have some of the other expenses, because the Watcom Transit ones don't have air conditioning, so we're putting those in. But we were able to get them for under $10,000. So they've passed their useful life, and so we're but still run. So that's sort of the way that that's why you see so many vehicles on our lot. Is we're doing the best we can. I think that in terms of expenditures for preventative maintenance, that will be a number one thing that we ask for in the CARES Act grant. And I would imagine that we will get approval for that. That plus some of the wage increases because of the driver shortage and things like that. So we are being told by the state that we can apply for those things.
Separate topic question about staff. I
Mhm.
should know this. I don't know why it's gone over my head because I've been involved, but Amy's old position is just evaporating.
We are talking about that internally right now. It is evaporated. We've been able to handle the workload with the help of some consultants, marketing in particular. I think I wanted to wait until Amy got back so we could have that conversation, or that she could have that conversation with you as part of the next budget. I think there are advantages for her to rehire the position. I think there are also advantages of potentially contracting some work out, which might be less and might allow you a little more flexibility in being able to get the person that you specifically need for the job. I think internally we've found that as long as we have capable people, we can do pretty well with low staff. Now, if we're increasing service levels and other things, there are some operational staff that we may need to increase as well. But in terms of the, and then I suppose it will in large part depend on a large portion of my job has been doing outreach and doing some regional planning and things along those lines. So if that's something that the board wants to do, the question for you will be, do you want to hire somebody to do that? Do you want Amy to do that? And et cetera, et cetera. So I think those are the questions that you need to ask yourself. And maybe Amy can give you a better idea about what she wants to do.
And timeline for her coming back?
I went walking with her last weekend, and I recommended that maybe she would want to come back for a couple hours, each week, maybe beginning in mid-March. I don't expect her to be back full-time until the end of April.
Okay. And, okay. On to upcoming events then, and Patty also had a request that we change the March meeting to Tuesday, the 15th, instead of Wednesday, the 16th, and that'll work for me.
Yeah. My son and my son has planned a little trip, a little fun trip for us to do for my birthday. So
Oh,
since he usually doesn't do things like that, I want to be able to do that, and he's planned it for the 16th. So
So we would move our meeting, to the 15th. Okay. I just think Tuesday the 15th.
Greg said it worked for him. I didn't check with Jeff, but if you guys want to check
Daryl and Letty, is that gonna work for you? Okay.
What are we talking about here? I got lost.
Moving our March meeting to Tuesday, the 15th, instead of the usual Wednesday, the 16th.
Oh, probably, yeah. I don't have any plans right then yet.
Letty, how about you? Okay, she gave a thumbs up. Okay.
so we'll do that if that works. We will need a full or a quorum of board members, because there will be several things that we'll be asking you to approve, including the supplemental budget.
We don't have to vote on changing the day of our meeting, do we?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm gonna use my, okay. All right,
I
so the
guess we
other,
could.
I don't, I mean, we all said we could do it, so. Upcoming events, the TAC and the CAC.
Yeah.
As noted in the agenda.
Yes, you are, sorry, I'm
There's the red button,
technically
there you go.
challenged all the time. You are both very well, anybody is welcome to attend those meetings. There are board members on the CAC, so those board members will be attending, but the rest of the board is also welcome to attend.
And that's Megan and me and Letty, is that right?
That's
on
correct.
the- On the CAC?
Oh, by the way, we do think we now have at least one Hispanic a person applying for the CAC, the Citizens Advisory Committee, and we're working on getting another person to apply, so we should have a full CAC. But it's, again, if you know of people and can encourage them to apply, that would be great. The TAC meeting is the more technical committee that it would be people like the city and the county planners, also Port, Forest Service, other folks like that. Again, that might be interesting for you to come to, but it's certainly not mandatory. And that is more during the middle of the day. So I know it makes it harder for folks to come, but. And we'll be going over the existing conditions report. Again, we'll be, once we send that out, we very much appreciate it if you just took a moment to read it. It is 60 pages, but it's a nice looking 60 pages. There are lots of maps and things for you to look at. Some of the maps are better than others, but nonetheless, we got them done. And so if there's something in there that you feel like we forgot or need to include, please let us know and we'll happily get that information for you. There should be information about the trend in ridership and boarding rides, and some information about COVID and how it impacted our individual routes. So there's a lot of information in there. So safety is not in there though.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I have one quick thing.
Okay.
I realized that my, our board gorge passes expired.
Oh,
Well, we got
Right?
new ones. No, we got new
When?
ones. At our December meeting, I think, or January.
I didn't get one for some reason.
oh,
Okay.
well, we'll make sure you get one. Yeah,
I think it's because last year I didn't get one because I had I proactively bought one
Oh.
before the board voted to,
oh,
so.
send us your phone number and we'll just put it, is that the way you
Yeah.
use it? Okay,
Yeah.
just, I even probably have it, but if you send me your cell phone number, I can send it
And
to you
anyone
today.
else in your family needs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, we all have them. Cool. Yeah,
Is it-
I take care of Annika and Kyle has his own, so I'll send you those
Okay,
two phone numbers.
anybody else need a pass? Just send me your phone number if you do. Okay,
All right.
that was quick and efficient.
Okay, now we need a
Motion.
motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
And a second,
second.
please. Thank you, Letty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And chair votes aye. The meeting is adjourned at 5:10 PM. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
can stop the
you.
recording.
See ya.
Thank you.
Goodbye. All right, well, there was.